So um, today, actually, due to the some disturbances, um, I am not able to demonstrate you properly. So here I am presenting today's lectures. So starting from the continuation, like in the last class that I have given to all of you, that I have given a problem to all of you that to write a program that can convert temperature from centigrade to Fahrenheit. So let's see what is the basic structure of this programming. So before I discussing this programming, let's look into some functions because till now I have not discussed any functions about in the Fortran. So in this Fortran program, actually, there are lots of intrinsic, conversion, and other types of arithmetical functions are there. So among them, some of are given here. So like intrinsic functions are like it's kind of already written, already defined function. So these are already defined function within Fortran. So you can call anytime, anywhere, just to write this using this keyword. So this is the keyword for those intrinsic function. So here you can see that ABS is the intrinsic function for calculating the absolute value of any value of x, whether x is real or integer. Like if it is an integer and like minus 2, and so that means ABS minus 2 give you the value only 2. That means only magnitude from this function you can calculate. Even like minus 2.5, then this function will return you 2.5. That means the sign is not considered for that particular function. So that is the absolute value. Another square root, we know how can we do the square root. Just like if you want to do square root of any value like x4, and if you write sqrt4 here, so it will give you 2. So this is one kind of arithmetical operator. Another, some trigonometric operator like sine, cos, tan, all are also considered as an intrinsic function. And also if you want to do the inverse of those trigonometric functions, so for that actually you can use a sine, a cos, a tan, etc. Another one is exponential and logarithmic scale. So those are also intrinsic function for the Fortran program. Another one is the conversion function, because using this function you can convert real to integer, integer to real. You can also find out different type of part or section of any particular number. Like the first function is init intx. It um, basically this function is actually converted any real value into integer. Like here there is example is given, like init minus 3.5 is given. Now for init minus 3.5, it will return actually minus 3 only. That means only the integer section it will return. In the same way, if you want to convert some integer into real, like here, the minus 10 is the integer, and if you want to convert it into the real, then real is the keyword and it is a conversion function. So it will return minus 10.0. In this way, there is n in it that will give you the round nearest integer. Like if it is 3.5, n in it 3.5 give is given will give the 4, because it is 3.5, and if it is 3.4, then it will give you 3. Another one is the floor and fractions. the like fractional part of, if you want to take some fractional part like 12.3, so fractional part is point 0.3, and if you only considered want to consider only 0.3, so if you write fraction 12.3, so it will give you 0.3. In the same way, it is the floor minus 3.5 actually give you the integer value minus 4. That means minus 4 is less than 3.5. Okay, so it is 3.5, and less than that particular number, which is the largest integer, that is minus 4. Now, if it is a positive number, like if it is here 3.5 is there, then the value should be 3 where it is given. So in this way, actually, the every conversion function have its uh, own operations. So here, first one for integer, like here, whatever argument type means what you put within this x and what you have as the output that is given in the return type. So return type is the integer. In the same way, you will have whether whatever actually you are putting, whether real or integer as an argument type, you will have integer uh, as an output in the for the first three conversion function, and for this other two you will get output as a real type of variable. So those conversion function in intrinsic function are not, those are basically those intrinsic function are the very common. There is also other some conversion function are there, so you have to remind all of this function. The other function like this is kind of mathematical function, max, mean, mod, max of some x1, x2. These are some values are given. So max is the function which basically can calculate the maximum of this series, and mean is the function that can calculate minimum of this series. Mod is little bit different because we know mod is one kind of arithmetical operator. Division, if we write like dividing something, and if it is divisible, so we know there is no remainder, right? So for that it is okay. But if you want to retrieve the remainder section, so that we can do using this mod x and y. X and y should be same type of variable, like for mod, uh, if it is real then y should be real, and if it is integer then y should be also integer. So in this way actually you can see that what is the remainder we have. So so these are the functions, and so now we have two programs. The first one is to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, and this is the second program. I will show you how you can write. Let's see. Uh, Move into the compiler. Move to the compiler. So first one is the. Actually, I have already write the program. So let's see. We can find it or not. So this is the temperature conversion program. Using this program, actually, you can convert any temperature that is in centigrade into Fahrenheit scale. So here centigrade and Fahrenheit are the temperature which is basically um, cannot be read as integer, because temperature cannot always be in integer like 23.2, 24.5. So this is the type of temperature we have. So that is why the temperatures cannot be defined in the integer section. So that is why here I have defined these two temperature scale as a real type of variable. Then it printing and reading the input. Here I have inputting the data C, which is the temperature in the centigrade scale, and then it converted into the Fahrenheit, which we can write using the line 7 print. And this is a very small program where you can convert. So this is a conversion in using that type of you can. So here actually we can see there is only single value. You are inputting a single value and you are getting some other like you're getting one single value. So this is one program. Another program, if we actually run, let's see how we can run this and what uh, how actually the output it looks like. Let's see. So in this tutorial, first I have compiled this thing. So first I have compiling this thing. While compiling, what I will get, there is no error. So I move into the second step, that is linking the objective file. While I have compiling this Fortran 90 source code, it will generate objective file that have extension of obj. So here I'm linking the objective file and creating the executable file. Then I have running this executable file here. Now it asking to inputting my value. So here I have input giving the input as a temperature in centigrade. Let's say I'm giving here 23.5 degree centigrade obviously. Now let's see. Yeah, it is converted into the Fahrenheit. Okay. So in the same way, there is another program. There is another program. Yeah, sorry. Second. Okay. So here, this is the program actually. So this is the one program that like we have to write a program that can find maximum, minimum, and sign of a number. So here I'm going to use some functions. So here instructions are given like we have to take five number from user and then we have to calculate max, mean, and sign. So here I've already written my program. Okay, actually, is another problem. So let's see actually first that how this program will run and how actually output from this program will look like. So see first the basic structure always be same. So here I have defined real as input. These are the input of my program because we have to take five number, and the other part is the output of my program. Like this is the maximum, this is minimum, and this is like sign of the five input parameter. So here one thing you can do, if you want to state something here, like you want to define, because whenever you write a program or algorithm, it is very important so that the program can be used by others, so that you have to define everything in the program, so that the whenever another person uh, is reading your programming code can understand what we have done in the program and what are the parameters you are considered. So here, like to write a statement in the Fortran program, actually here we use the exclamatory sign. So like if we want to state that like A, B, C, D, E are input, okay, then mm, here input and outputs are defined as real type variable. Okay, so this is how you can state in a programming. Okay, now let's say within some programming you want to ignore some line, you want to ignore one line. So just put exclamatory sign before that particular line so that the program is not readable by the executable by the program. So in this way, you can also ignore some line in the program. So let's see how this program will look like when I'm running this program. What are the output and how it look like? First, I have compiled this thing. So here I have shown you that it is there, no error is there, and so I'm moving to the second step, that is to link and to create an objective executable file. Actually in Linux, this thing we can do in a single line, but for this compiler we have to write two lines. So it depends on compiler actually, that how many coded line you have to write. So here I'm running the executable file, because like in if you have if you work with Linux, then this three line can be is basically converted into the two line. The first one to create an executable, and the first second one you have to run the executable. So itself, the objective and executable file are they are creating in single stick. Now I have to put here the five number. Okay, so let's put the five number. See, it will write the maximum, minimum, and the sign of the different parameter. Now, one thing I would like to say here. Now, if you want to print, like here I have given A, B, C, D, E, and especially the read it line is very important to understand that what parameter is what. Like here A, B, C, D, E is written. Now, I have given the number, the sequence. The sequence is always same. Like if A, so for here A equals to 45, B equals to 55. Now if I change the sequence here, like if I put E here and then A here, okay, so in that case it is like in that case actually the 45 becomes E. Equals to then 45. And if we change the position of the A and move into the last, then for like in that case A is the maximum, that is 81. So in this way the sequence uh, uh, at which actually you are reading the data, it is very important, because how you read and how you are inputting the value, the sequence is always same. So for, if you want to read, like if you want to read the e value first, then you have to put e here. So that means the sequence should be maintained properly. Otherwise, for like like in normal cases there are no issues, but where you have to, the sequence is important. So that thing you need to remind. Like why I'm telling you that thing, like here I am, instead of giving any number, I've given you some parameters like temperature, pressure, and mixing ratio. And like here I have given the input data, but in naturally you have to read the data from some predefined file. And in this predefined file actually might be the temperature. You have to read temperature first. You can read temperature first, then pressure, then other thing. So in that case, if you write pressure in this rate pressure first, so there shows error. Might be it is not readable in that case. So the sequence is very important. Now in that case, actually you have to write temperature first, then pressure, then uh, other variables. The sequence should be maintained. So then it calculated the maximum and minimum, and it calculated the sign. Now here you can see that for every value actually I have to do, sign operation in separate line. Okay, so it makes the program longer. It takes little higher time, but this we can do in a single line if we consider loops. Now let's see what is loop. Loop is basically something that, loop is like a continuation, like iteration. So that means iterating something continuously. So that is called loop. In normal, those who know about programming language, they know that there are different types of loop in the programming language. While loop are there, for loop are there, do loop are there. So in most of the cases, these three loops are used in several programming language. For Fortran, do loop and for loops are used mostly. In some cases, where loop is also used. So this is the first thing. Another thing is conditional statement. Like if you want to execute something based on some condition, then how can you execute your program? So for that actually you need some conditions. Like say, if I want to say, like the program will execute only if I give input positive number, that means the program is not valid for negative number. So in that case you can uh, impose some condition like if, then statement, then it will execute, the program will execute. So in this way actually there are two things. This is a very two important thing. One is the iteration process, because in programming we, that is the basic reason we use programming, because we don't want to do same thing repeatedly manually, because it takes time. So that is why we have to set loop, so that might be the operation, the time taken, the operation something like if we want to do some iteration like 100 times, and if we want to do it manually it takes longer time, and machines can do it within a second. So that means that is the basic advantage of the loop. And if and then like if you want to state some logical statement, and if you make the program much more logical, so in that case uh, you have to construct if then else. So this is not loop actually, this is conditional statement where you imposing your condition. So I will explain these two things using a single program. In the last program I have given you example that how you can calculate maximum and minimum based on the intrinsic, or you can say function, using some function. So this same thing I'm going to do in this program, but using these loops and condition. Based on that, actually, there are two things I will show you. One is the iteration, another one is the Sorry for the interruption. So here I'm showing a simple program, and then using that program actually I will discuss the use of do loop and the if and then. This is the program. So here actually they are calculating the maximum and minimum whatever I inputting. So first, see here I have defined all of the parameter as a integer, then have start executing, and here I have initialized something. Now this type of initialization is basically doing to start something, like I told you why I'm doing, because the initial, but for that particular problem actually it is not very much essential part, but it can be doing because it it helps you to count your iteration, because I have not given any type of integer here, like, and here we don't know how much iteration I require. So that is why here I have put a parameter count which count my iteration. Where you know that how many iteration you have. So for that actually you don't need to set that. So here count 0, I have already initialization and define a variable where I have put it 0. That means when I move into the loop at that particular time, this variable is 0. So it reading the input, and obviously the loop will only work for positive value, because if the input becomes negative, it will terminate the loop, and if it is positive then it will move into the next line. It will increment the count value, and it will show that what are the input and what is the count. So like if we put here positive value, and then here count will increment, and if, like if count equals to 1, that means for first count, like for first data, so it will consider this input, first input, as maximum as well as minimum. So this is the first logic. Here there we have put our assumption. So for the first iteration it will go to up to that point, and then it will skip that section and move into the second. Okay, so it will again take another input, and for, like, whenever it move into that, so that particular time for second iteration this count is already 1, so this count become 2. So whenever count becomes 2, so this is not valid for second iteration, so it will move to the else section, and it will check for the this condition whether here for the second iteration input is, like, what we have given here input, and the maximum and minimum already is defined. So like if input is greater than maximum, it will change the predefined maximum and minimum, and then it will close the if condition. So it will close end if, that means here I have start a if and then and else, this is the thing, and then we have closed the conditional statement. Now here again I have start a loop with do, and then I have closed this loop with a end do. So if there is one do loop, there have one end do. So every loop you have to end it up with this end do. Then we have to write this program. Like here you can see if count is greater than 0, then only it will write maximum and minimum. So here, so this is how actually do and if and then are used. So let's see how it looks, how the output is basically looks like when we run this program. So here I'm compiling this, and then I have. So now here I'm putting like 15. It will show you 15 like data item. Like here, if you look into the uh, program, you can see that. Okay, let's see 16, 10, 25, 48, 3, 75. So now the loop is basically moving because all those are the positive number. Now how you can exit this loop? So for that actually you have to type any negative value. So if you once you type the negative value, the loop terminated and it will show you the result. Like there are 7 data items, among them is the 75 is the maximum and minimum is the 3. So there is another section like when count is greater than 0, then it will only write that thing. Else, that means when there is like less than 0, so it shows you no data item found. So how it can be possible? Like here, once I have run this program, and at the very first stage, I have given the negative value. In that case, actually, it will show you no data item found. So this is the basic logic behind like how you can use the do loop and if and then. And the next one is the formatting, like how you can format your input and output. So because here if you look into the input and output, so it looks like a real thing, sorry, integer thing. And if you look those output, those are like there are 1 2 3 4 5 6 decimal. And also here this is the real thing, but it is looks though it is integer, it looks like a real thing because after decimal it takes 12040. So in this way, actually, if you want to write only the decimal up to uh, two, like 99, if you want to print this two section, so how you can print those sections? So for that, actually, you need to do the formatting of the data. Now, for formatting, actually, you need to understand that what are the types of the variable we have. There are three types of variable we have. We have first one is the integer, second one is the character, and the third one is the real. And then within for the real, actually, there are two type of variable. One is the floating, another one is the exponential. So for real, actually, what you have like for real, there are one is the floating point, another one is the exponential. So like integer, so integer is like integer is like I x. Like for integer you have to use this I value. For character you have use a value. For real you have to use the photron. Wait, sorry, floating point. For floating point you have to use f, and for exponential, real exponential you have to use this e. Now, x and y are the basically define the number or length of the integer and the other character variables. So here the definition is given that x is the filled width or length of the integer or real value, y is the number of characters reserved for the fractional or exponential part. So the formatting you can do for the formatting pattern and formatting things are same for input and output in both sections. So let's see, like for here integer, I have taken integer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I write print I5, it basically defines there are there are five numbers should be there. Like if I write I4, then it will print 1, 2, 3, 4. If I write I2, it will only print 1, 2. So in this way, actually, you can decide how many number and how much length of the particular integer and real value you have to write. Now the second section is for the real floating number. So here is the floating number, so I have used here if. Now here 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 14. The length of this real number is the 14, including this decimal. So, so including this decimal, this is now if I want to print the real for that have length of about 10, and then we want to keep the decimal point up to 8. So for that, actually, we have to write 10. This is the total uh, length of the real value, and zero point 0.8 means the number of digit that is that you have to place after the decimal. And E10.3. So E10.3 is basically the exponential, that when you want to write this floating point as exponential, so here you have to use the same length, that is 10, but here after decimal we need to reserve 3 decimals. So that is why here it is written like 0 point, like in the decimals is moved into the slightly before section, because we want to write it in exponential term. And after moving this decimal little bit earlier before this 5, we have three term, like 504 are the three number of digit after decimal we want to reserve. So this is how actually you can write integer, real in the floating and exponential. And another one that this two part I will discuss later. Okay, so this is three things. This is the three way you can format your input and output. Another thing is the creating files, like how you can create files, because till now here we see we have taking input from uh, screen, we have writing the output in the screen. So for that, actually, print star comma we are using, and print star comma this, and write this two star. This syntax works for the same, that it will write output in a screen, and which is completely unformatted. So here two star actually define. The first one is defining that where the place where it will write, and the second is defining the format. So if we put here star, that means it is not formatted. That means it will print the number as it is. So that means this define unit number, and this is the formatting. Now formatting I have already discussed, like I5 I think. So this thing actually you have to write here. And for unit number, which is basically a number that links the input and output file with the program. So for that you have to define some number, you have to create the input and output file. So here you can see that how, when, at what stage you can create an input and output file. After declaration, after this declaration section, you have to open a file. You can open input file, you can open output file. So there are two ways you can write. Like for open unit, you have to give a number that depends on user, and then IOStat, like what is the status of input file. Mm, and then you have to give a name of the file, and should be the extension should be in text. What is the status, like it is new and it can be writable. So open unit file, this is another way you can write. Like here you have to give a number, and then you have to put a file name that have extension in it, that format. So both that and text are the binary format file. So now after having this number, like here I have, if you put some number, so this number is important, because it will, like it is linking your file. So now if you create an input file, like here if you are creating input file, and if you put a value like 1 here, so from data actually. From this input file you have to read the data, and for that actually, like for reading purpose you have to put it here 1. In the same way, if you want to create a file of output, then where you want to write your output, and if you write unit equals to 2 here, then for writing purpose you have to write 2 here. So this is how actually you can create your input and output file. You can modify your output by formatting. So today I have discussed about the loop, do loop especially. Then I have discussed the conditional statement, how you can format your input and output, and how you can create your file. So using those concepts, try to do those programming. There are 5 programs. Try to do some those programming, and I will post those program in the Google Classroom. And I have seen that most of you have already not accepting the link of the Google Classroom. So again, I'm telling you to accept it. And okay, so that is for today. And after going through this video, because there are some little bit pause within that particular video due to the disturbances. So, but you have to see this full video first, and see any point anywhere you don't understand, put your query in the Google Classroom.